Hi, everyone, and welcome to Conversations at the Rocks. It's a space where we're going to sit down, have a heart to heart, and talk about living fully, even in the midst of chronic illness and life's more uncertain seasons. These conversations are about faith, resilience, healing, and the reminder that we are so much more than our diagnosis. Today, I'm truly honored to introduce to you Laura Kohnen, owner of the Zia Retreat in New Haven in Hermann, Missouri. Zia Retreat is a peaceful, holistic retreat space offering personalized retreats, yoga, reiki, massage, and restorative therapies. Laura thoughtfully tailors each experience, whether someone's coming for guided retreat or just simply seeking a quiet place to rest and recharge in a retreat style setting. It's a space created for renewal and reflection, especially those walking through difficult seasons. And our conversation today is all about spiritual health and taking care of ourselves spiritually and faithfully. I hope you enjoy this conversation and I hope it sparks something inside of you. And let's begin. Good morning, everybody. I am here with Laura Kohnen. Did I say that right?
Mm-hmm.
At her beautiful retreat. This is Zia Retreat, and it is New Haven, Missouri, next to Hermann, Missouri, and Washington, Missouri. So we are going to talk about everything spiritual and faith, which is so important to all of us that have chronic illnesses, chronic diseases, and even if you don't have a chronic disease, this is extremely important to grasp onto and to help your inner soul and yourself and your spirit. Thank you so much for letting us be here.
Oh, thank you for coming.
And if you would just start, Laura, telling us a little bit about what you have to offer and what Zia is all about.
Okay, so we started Zia in 2009, 2010, and actually started it as an art gallery. And in 2018, I closed for a year because it wasn't feeling right. And so the end of 2018, I closed. 2019, we just were kind of dormant, kind of that hibernation stage of like me just praying about what would come next. And as we all know, 2020 brought some unexpected surprises, and I became a yoga instructor and a Reiki master that year. We drove to Oklahoma for my Reiki. I did online yoga training, and I realized that I needed to provide healing in a different format. And I needed to provide a space for people to come and heal, whether it was physically, emotionally, spiritually, whatever, just to have a sacred space. And immediately just fell in love with the idea and got all the trainings I needed and started teaching yoga that October, and I've never looked back. I've been teaching yoga now for 5, going on 6 years, and I've done yoga ever since I can remember. I've always been the person that was my exercise, really. And I started leading. It was very interesting. I thought I would put off retreats until 2021 when we built our Hermann home and retreat center, and God just laid on my heart, I gave you the space to start leading the retreats. So that next January in 2021, I started leading retreats here. We did have a marriage retreat before that, a couple years before that, but I was just kind of the facilitator. I had somebody else lead that, and it was beautiful. We had 13 couples come for a marriage retreat weekend. They did not all stay here. Only a few stayed here, but we only have space for a few. But they stayed all in the area, or they were local, and they would come in for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for a retreat. And I think, I had always wanted to do retreats. I don't know why. It's just always been something that's been on my heart. And I know it was just God kind of letting me take the path that I needed to take to get to the place where I was ready to start leading them. So I would go to retreats. We did the marriage retreat that somebody else facilitated, and then it just led into me starting to host and facilitate my own retreats. And I bring in other people who I consider healers, and they co-facilitate with me and co-create these retreats with me. And they're all spiritual in base, but anybody is welcome to come, because you don't have to believe the same thing I believe to come and receive whatever is meant for you to receive.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's really great. This building here, you have the 2 suites upstairs, and then you said you had one right down here.
Right in the back.
Yes, which is great for the people that can't make it up the stairs, because there definitely is some stairs. But the suites upstairs are wonderful. They're big and spacious and just very home feeling, really.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful. It does not feel like a hotel, and it does not feel like a regular bed and breakfast either. It feels like you're going to Laura's home and you're staying in one of her beautiful rooms with a kitchen, and it's gorgeous.
Yeah, it has everything you need. I mean, literally you have a washer and dryer if you want to do laundry. Sometimes people just throw their towels in the dryer to warm them up, so when they get out of the shower they can have a warm towel. But yeah, we just made them so that you would have everything you need, so you can stay up there. I also facilitate soul retreats, which are just for you alone, and I can meet with you daily or as you want, or I can just write up, and I have this little soul box retreat, and you just kind of work through it. But you can stay up there, and you can create it for as long as you want. So if you want a 2-day, great. If you want a 5-day, great. And you have the space all to yourself, and we just create whatever you want.
Oh, nice. So that's really good for people who maybe aren't necessarily into the yoga or don't understand some of that stuff, but you could
or if they
work
just
on your
want to
inner
be
soul.
alone. Yeah. Some people just want to work through things on their own. They don't want to be in a group. They find that intimidating. But I love that even the women who have come in for the retreats who have been a little like unsure and scared, by the time they leave, it's like everybody's family. And it's just beautiful to watch.
That's great. Well, and like you say, I love this. I wrote this down because I love it so much. A sanctuary where wellness is inspired. I like that, because you're right. I think you come here and maybe you have in your mind what things are going to go or how it's going to be. And then this place can definitely inspire you to open up your views, your thoughts, to open up yourself to something else.
Yeah, I just think it takes the energy of the space to let you, and for you to just immerse yourself in it, and you'll find something.
Yeah. So that kind of answers what inspired you to create a spiritual retreat space. But I do want to go back to that question. What personally really just connected with you that you said, maybe God said to you, you need to do this? Do you remember if there was maybe one moment where you're like, yes, God wanted me to do this?
It's interesting because Mark and I had a farm before moving in here, because we lived back here for a while. Before moving back here, we had a farm on 40 acres. And he and I would walk the property, and we always were just like, one day we're going to lead retreats here. I didn't know where it came from then, but when I was sitting on that couch over here in 2020 and literally heard God saying, it's time. It's time to start them now, and it's time to start them here. I was like, okay, all right. Because it was always just this vision. And I think sometimes God gives us these little bits and pieces of visions, and like those like little bubbly, effervescent feelings inside that are like, oh my gosh, that would be so much fun. And it's just this feel-good feeling, right? And you don't really know even what the outcome is. You don't know what the whole vision is, but you just get these little sparks and pieces. And then that day it was just like full on like firework, like this is what you're going to do, and this is why you're doing it. So
I agree. I definitely agree. There, you have to listen to yourself and listen inside and clear thoughts away and be very open. And you're right, God can speak to you in a lot of ways, for sure. Within this retreat that you do, and these retreat and working on your soul and yourself too, to me that's very much a spiritual health. So that's a part of us. With chronic illnesses, we deal with the physical all the time. We don't really talk sometimes about the spiritual health, and that's very important. How do you think you define spiritual health? And for someone whose health is fragile, unpredictable, because they have a chronic illness, or maybe they're dealing with cancer, where it can be uncertain how things will be. How do you define that spiritual health, or how should that spiritual health look for a person, I guess?
I think spiritual health is what gives you the hope to move on, to like be in your life. Because regardless, I taught special education for 20 years too, and I always use this in special education too, right? Your diagnosis, your label does not define who you are as a being. You came here with something to do. You came here with a soul's purpose. And it gets me so excited to help people refine their soul's purpose. And I've had so many women who have come in who are just lost, whether they have an illness or not, because I've had both, but they're just lost. And to help people rediscover that hope. And I think that's what spiritual wellness and healing is all about, is reconnecting with the hope and reconnecting with your soul's purpose, because you came here with a purpose.
Exactly. Oh, yes. Very much so. So that answers our, do you believe spiritual care, or even your inner heart's care, your spirit, is just as important as physical? So here it sounds like you do both.
Absolutely. So when you come to a retreat, not only do we talk about the spiritual self, but we also work on the physical stuff. We do movement, we do yoga, we take walks. I cook all the food for the most part, or my co-creators help cook all the food, and we not only nourish the body with really healthy foods, we also nourish the body with dark chocolate.
Chocolate's always a miracle worker.
Right? We find that balance of what heals you. And I always say, I believe our soul does not need healing, but I think we need to heal our identity around our soul.
Okay.
Like, we need to connect with the fact that our soul is pure and healthy and whole, but we have to bring it together with our reality of physical life, right? And so I love giving women opportunities. We cook together sometimes, or I will share recipes, because they're always like, how did you make this? This is amazing. Because I think cooking is such a gift, and it's such a thing that brings us together, but it can be so healing for all of us. And but we do have our treats, and we have our fun stuff. And so, yeah, when it comes back to it, the physical, the spiritual, the mental, it's all emotional, it's all tied together. And so we work on all of those.
Yeah, and that is very important. I'm sure with your experience, people who come here to you have chronic illnesses or not, like you had said. Do you see a lot of them come in with their life, with their spiritual life or faith in general, questioning it, very negative or positive at the beginning?
Absolutely. And I have watched, and so all of my retreats are women. So they're just women only retreats at this point. Our hope is to start bringing in men and to do marriage retreats more in the future. But right now we focus on women. And so I have watched women come in on the evening that we start, and when they leave on Sunday, because normally we finish on Sunday, and their whole energy is shifted. Like, from being all huddled and maybe a hoodie on, and just like, you can tell they're just angry. A lot of them are angry with God. Why is this happening to me? Where is God in all this? There can't be a God, because why would he allow this to happen to me? And but to watch them reopen to God, to find that hope, to connect to a vision that is outside of an illness if they have it, whether it's physical or mental or spiritual, to watch them find something outside of that, what they came in with, is unbelievable. It is so unbelievable, and it is such a blessing for us to watch.
On that note, I did want to ask, because I've had this myself too. I'm very faith-based too, and God controls everything in my life for sure. But I know that there are people out there, and I have several clients who are atheists, not agnostic, but atheists, who do not believe in God at all. Have you come across that, who maybe would come to this retreat very dark or in that mindset, and not in a dark mindset, not in a positive mindset, but a very dark, negative mindset like that?
Yeah, we have had a few come in like that. And again, I can't explain what it is. I can't explain how the transition works, but the transformation is just beautiful. And as a spiritual retreat.
Yes.
I don't share it as a Christian retreat. You don't have to believe in Jesus. You have to believe in God. It's a spiritual retreat. And so however you come in believing, you're going to hear what I believe because I'm the facilitator. You're going to hear what my co-facilitators believe.
Yes.
But you can believe what you want, and you're welcome in this space. And we just always treat one another with respect and respect what one another believes and how they come and how they take everything in. And as long as everybody treats everybody with respect, that's all that we ask. And we set a sacred container when we start that what happens in our spaces stays in our spaces. You can talk about your experience. You don't share who the experience was, who that person was. And we respect one another, and we don't try to fix one another. So we have a sacred container that we set every time with every retreat. And I think that's important because people do come in very dark and very lost.
Yes.
And it's no way to live.
Yes.
It's no way to live.
Yes. And I know for a couple of my clients who are atheists, my thing is, you are here, you have a spiritual being, and if you don't believe that, that is fine, but you are here on this earth for something. And your positive energy is so important to everybody around you in your environment.
Absolutely.
And to be able to spread that joy and positive energy that you can find in yourself, in yourself.
Well, and it dictates your reality. I mean, it really does dictate your reality. And there's so many scientific studies that sometimes we'll bring into retreats about the effects on your words on water. I told you I taught special ed for 20 years, so brain health and the way we talk to ourselves is so important to me. And it's a focus of every retreat because our self-talk dictates our reality. And so, because our self-talk becomes our thoughts, and our thoughts become our beliefs, and our beliefs become our actions, and our actions become how we live. And so, there's so much scientific base to everything we do in our retreats too. So whether you're here just out of the blue because you just needed something and you're not spiritual, come and experience that.
And obviously something led you to this. Something in yourself and your being led you to look into your place and come here and reach out to you.
Well, and just like your clients who may be atheists who have come to you, there's a reason those people are drawn to our retreats. There's a higher plan for everything, and there's a reason that people are drawn to one another.
Yes, definitely. The other thing is there are a lot of, or some common spiritual struggles, and I'm sure you see these spiritual struggles all the time with people, especially with these long-term illnesses. How do you, or what are some common things that you see happen with people with chronic illness that can be a struggle that maybe we need to work through and overcome?
I think what I've seen, now I haven't had a lot of people with chronic illness, but we definitely have had a few. And what I have seen is just that lack of hope. They're giving up on life because it's not just the diagnosis. It's the physical ailments that come with it. And it's hard to watch, because I'm a healer. I want to heal and fix everything, and I can't. And so I have to let people be how they come. But just like you said, our energy changes the environment. And when you put yourself in an environment, in an experience where the energy is meant to heal, the energy is meant to provide hope, the energy is meant to give you vision for something different, you start to absorb that, you start to open up to that. And that's where the magic happens. So I'm a spiritual girl, but I will talk about magic all day long. But that is really where the magic happens. And but yeah, it's just seeing people who have lost hope and who are so caught up in the diagnosis, and not just the diagnosis, but the physical reality that comes with it. And so just helping them see something outside of that is a blessing and a gift. And
So that will lead us to our next question.
Yeah.
So someone who does have limited pain, they're in pain, mobility is limited, or even just limited energy, what are some gentle ways that they can nurture their spiritual life without feeling very overwhelmed, maybe?
I think the first way is just through breath work. I always try to work with breath work with people. We'll do that with guided meditation. We do it with our yoga. We work with the breath, releasing the tension, releasing the pain. Can you release everything if you are, in true debilitating pain? Possibly not, but you can definitely shift some of the energy. That's what breath work is all about. And so movement, breath work, meditation is so beneficial to see yourself outside of your body, to see that soul space and that other place where you can take your energy and you can see yourself whole, and to be able to start visualizing that stuff. So I really, you know what? I forgot the question already. I got so excited.
No, that you answered. That's exactly right. And I would like to say too, to all my listeners too, doing like breath work, doing even meditation. I know that some people get very nervous about that who are very religious, so who are very Catholic or Baptist. That you do not have to make that be something that goes against your religion. In the Catholic Church, there's a lot of meditation you can do on Catholic practices, the Rosary, for the
I'm
Bible.
Catholic. I'm Catholic too. So born and raised Catholic. But Jesus not always, but he would go away to pray.
Yes.
When I go away to pray, that is my meditation.
Yes.
It is just quiet time where you focus on your breath. It calms the mind.
Yes.
And a rosary is an excellent meditation. Just to pray, all the prayers that we've learned, the Hail Mary, the Our Father, any of them.
Yes.
Like that is a form of meditation. It doesn't matter how you do it. It's just being quiet. We're gonna have a trained person.
Oh.
It's being quiet and it's taking time to just be with God.
Yes.
For me, that's what meditation is all about. I really feel like to the point you're saying, the more time, and not that you have to spend copious hours, but when you are in that prayer and meditation time, I feel like you become more attuned to your body too, and you know if your body is healing or waning, and for the people around you too. I feel like when my mom passed away, we were in the hospital and she had hardening of the lung walls, and so they kept trying to keep her in the hospital, and I finally looked at the doctor because I knew it was time to take her home. And I finally looked at the doctor and I'm like, what are we looking at? What timeline are you thinking? And should we take her home to be on hospice? And he finally said yes. But it was like he didn't want to tell me until I asked. And then we took her home and hospice came in and I said, what kind of timeline are we looking at? And she said, it could be weeks or months. And I said, I feel it's going to be 3 to 5 days. And she said, I do too. And I'm like, okay. I needed to know that. I wanted to know that so that we could best serve her and we could be there with her.
Yes.
And sure enough, 3 days later, she passed away.
And that is so hard. With my dealings with hospice in pharmacy, it is very hard to, for our medicine, for Western medicine, to be very open to that you are dying. Because we're taught in medical school and pharmacy school and in physical therapy, all those schools, you're taught, try everything you possibly can to keep that person alive. But what you're doing is just keeping the body alive. Absolutely. You're not keeping the soul, the energy, the spirit of somebody really there. They're kind of along for the ride and you're just trying to keep the body. And sometimes that's not what the end goal should be. And I've learned that so much working with hospice that is not the end. And hospice is not a immediate death. In your mother's case,
not at all.
That was she she was ready, and that's what she was ready.
Exactly.
But I have people who have been on for a year, and get off of it, and then maybe go back on it. It's not an end all, but it is a time when you do have the proper medical support for that. Let's get with ourself, our spirit, and treat ourself as a whole.
Yes.
As opposed to just symptom based. That is what I commonly see too.
Yeah, science, statistics.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's true, and then you get that peace and energy. And it's so interesting because the hospice nurses that I see, they talk about, they definitely say, people know, and they're going to go the way they want to. And some people want to be there with their family all around them and pass away and transition into that next phase. And then some people don't. They want everybody gone, and the moment you leave the room, then they're ready.
Yeah.
And then it's just so interesting when I talk to these different nurses, the experiences that they see, because they're with the patient, they're there, and that they see and experience. It is something that I think everybody should look at, should read. I think everybody should read a book from a hospice nurse, because there is definitely something to this universe that is so much more than us.
Oh, so much.
So much more.
Yeah.
And they even say, I don't know, but there's something.
Can't explain it.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So back to our breath work. So you have practices here where you do yoga and then Reiki and breath work. What exactly is kind of breath work for people who maybe don't know?
It's really just slowing the breath. You can get into many different breath work patterns and breathing through the nose and, using your fingers to direct breath. I do a very simple, what we call kind of box breathing, because what it does is it switches your nervous system. So it takes you from the sympathetic nervous system, where you're in that fight, flight, your cortisol is building, and it's not a healthy environment for the body, and it switches you into parasympathetic. So your body can rest, your body can restore. You are now lowering cortisol levels down into a normal, healthy zone. Your body is calm, your body can heal. That's one of the premises behind Reiki too, is just to allow the body to slip into that parasympathetic so that it can naturally start the healing process. And that is the importance for breath work. And so even if I'm working with somebody and I see that their energy is building, the anxiety, the frustration, the resentment, the anger, whatever it might be, I can stop them and I can be, okay, let's breathe. Let's just close your eyes. And we can do it right here, and we can just breathe. And you can watch their energy just come back down, come back in, ground. And it allows you to think better. I do yoga in one of our local banks once a month at their lunchtime. So they can come in for 30 minutes and do chair yoga.
Yeah.
And just watching these people who come in, just breathe and just take time to it's so healing to the body, because we live in this energetic world that wants us ramped up here, where we can't focus, we can't heal, we can't be clear. And if we come down and we learn how to do this ourselves, because that's my goal, is to teach everybody, go home and do this yourself.
Yeah.
When you feel your energy ramping, bring it down.
Yeah. You
have the power.
Yeah, and that's so important. I mean, for the lung disease community, that's such an important thing to learn. But even for people who have other problems, ADD, or I should say ADHD, but anything like that, any type of anxiety, any type of depression, it's wonderful. And there's a lot of different breathing. The military uses, I think it's the box breathing that they do a lot of. But the military does it, because it just really is so important.
And when you're in a situation where you need to focus and your energy is ramping up and your breath is shortening, there's I heard this was scientifically proven that the energy in the brain is the same in fear and excitement. The difference is the breath. When we're scared, we stop breathing, or we breathe really shallow and fast. When we're relaxed and we're in joy and excitement, we're breathing deeper, we're breathing fuller. And so I teach people how to breathe through their belly rather than their shoulders too, because if you watch people, And normal breathing, their shoulders are coming up, up and down. But our belly should be coming forward so that diaphragm can expand fuller. And then the belly comes back in, pushing the diaphragm up as we express the breath. So there's just so much to it and so much healing to the breath. And breath of life, right? Like,
yes,
that is God.
Yes. That is God for sure.
Yeah.
And then so also you said chair yoga, which is very important for people who say they can't do the yoga.
Oh, yeah.
You can't get down on the ground. Chair yoga is definitely an option.
Chair yoga is so easy to do. You can do it anytime, any place. I show people how to do things at their kitchen countertop. If you're working, if you're washing dishes, do a chair or do a tree pose so you can work on your balance. If you're sitting, do a figure 4 pose so you can stretch out the back and release some tension. There are so many just simple things you can do to just release tension.
Yes.
To bring the body back into calm.
Yes, for sure, for sure. What would you say to someone who feels guilty for not being able to pray, meditate, or even attend their religious services? So people who are very sick and can't maybe go to church or go to the temple or wherever they go for their religion.
Well, so my honest answer would be that guilt is just the darkness taking you even further dark. There's nothing that you can't do, even if you're in a bed isolated in a hospital room, that I can do the exact same things in that hospital bed that I would do in a church. I can pray. I can breathe. I can talk to Papa. I call God Papa. So that is my name for Papa, for God. And if you've seen the movie The Shack, you know where my Papa comes from. But yeah, there's nothing you can't do, so you don't have to feel guilty. I mean, to me, prayer is just a conversation with God. And if you're all by yourself, who better to have a conversation with? Because He's everywhere. God's everywhere.
Yes.
So it's not, I don't feel like you have to be in a church. I don't feel like you have to be in a Bible study to have a relationship with God and to find that hope and that. For me, having God, especially when things are not good, is like having somebody who's there with you, walking side by side with you. And up in your room is actually the one scripture about the footsteps in the sand. And I only saw my footsteps, and that's when God was carrying you. You saw God's footsteps. And to know that there is somebody, a being, who is with you all the time, who knows you, knows everything about you, knows all those negative thoughts you have, still loves you, God doesn't care.
Yes.
And will hold you through all of it. To me, that's the best, the beauty, the blessing.
Yes, it is such a blessing. And you're right, in this day and age too, with us having all these virtual online services, it really has benefited a lot. I know with the cystic fibrosis community, it's helped tremendously because we are very susceptible to different bacteria and we can't get together with each other. So we get together a lot online.
Yeah.
But also for Catholics who are told you have to go to Mass all the time, there are virtual masses online. You can always see them online if you absolutely cannot make it because of illnesses.
You can have a priest bring a Eucharistic minister bring you Eucharist.
Yes.
And we just started doing that with my dad. My dad is 96, and he just stopped driving a few months ago because he couldn't pass his vision test.
Oh, yeah.
And so he drove to church every Sunday, and so he can't go to church anymore. So church got a hold of us, and they found out, and so they're coming to visit him until it's a little warmer and he can get a ride to church.
Yeah.
But they brought Eucharist to him, and so and it fills him up. It makes him feel good.
Yeah, I would definitely say to anybody out there, get with your religious leader and talk to them and reach out to them and explain your situation and see what is to offer and what can help you and benefit you.
I think almost every community has some kind of
to
organization of people who will come and visit and pray with you.
You had what is an experience that you've had with someone who was very, very maybe end of life,
Yeah.
maybe it was really a tough situation.
We did. We had a woman who came for a retreat, and she came from out of state.
So you had a hospice patient or end of life out of state, you said? No?
Yeah, she came from out of state with a friend. When she first got here, she actually curled up on that chaise lounge over there and just was in fetal position. I'm trying to remember. We started, I think they got up here about midday, and we started about midday. There was a group of about 5 to 6 women, and she, we weren't sure. She came up with a healer, a more Eastern-based healer, and so we weren't sure just kind of what the weekend would bring for her, but we just knew the energy would be good for her, and she was up to it, and we got her up the steps to go to the suite, so she did stay in a suite upstairs. But the beautiful thing, and it was just like I said before, is watching her absorb the energy. Even when she was sleeping in and out, she just was absorbing the energy, because that's what energy does. We are energetic beings. Everything is energy. And when you surround yourself with negative energy, your body absorbs the negative energy. When you surround yourself with loving, healing energy, your body starts to absorb it. And it was so sweet. She sort of came to a little bit more in that evening, and we ate, and she kind of just did the basics. The next day when she came down, it was like somebody had just hit reset on her life source, and she had so much more energy, and as the day went on, she just came more and more alive, and just was literally glowing, just with so much excitement, so much life, and walking around downtown and sitting over by the river and taking in the river, and it was just such a beautiful experience. And everybody, because then that energy comes back to us, right?
Yes.
And that's the
It's
way
contagious.
energy works.
Yes.
Yeah, it just starts to flow, and it becomes even more electrifying, and to watch her come back to life, literally, was just such a gift and a blessing to all of us. And after the retreat was over, she and her friends stayed a little bit longer, and we actually took them up to the Catholic Church in Hermann. She wanted to see Hermann, and so we drove up there, and she saw the Catholic Church up on the hill, and she's like, oh my gosh, I need to go there. And so we took her there, and we took her in, and she wept. She was just, she could feel what was happening in her body, and she wept. And so it was just, she could not say thank you enough, for her.
Yeah.
She was just so grateful, and we were just like, no, we're grateful.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that was just such a contagious, wonderful, positive energy to see that happen to her.
And to be a part of that experience for her, and that renewal of her energy and her life force.
That's great.
It was awesome.
How can spiritual connection help people with chronic illness find meaning even when their health doesn't improve? So you come to this retreat, it's wonderful, it's great, and you leave feeling energized, but we all get sucked back into the darkness sometimes. It's always there trying to grab you and put that negative energy in you. What would be a way to try to connect again with that?
So I think that's the beauty of what we do in the retreat, is we teach you skills, we teach you breath work, we teach you yoga moves, we teach you different things that you can take home and keep doing. You don't just do it here. That's not the goal. I'm never like, you can only do it with me. No, my goal is to teach you so that you can go home and you can recreate. Everybody has a binder, and so they get a whole outline of the weekend, whatever it is, and they take notes and they journal and they write. And I think that is healing in and of itself. Writing initially, but then going back to it and seeing what you wrote in that moment when you were feeling more energized, you were feeling more whole, and to be able to go back to that and reread it is beautiful. We also have WhatsApp chats through some of our retreat members, and we'll just, when somebody's feeling low, they'll pop in there and they'll be like, hey girls, I need prayers, or this is what's going on, or sharing excitements and blessings too. And that's fun. So it's fun to see them still connecting. And
that's really great.
yeah, and we're always in those chats too, so we're right there with them.
So what would you categorize, or what do you see as, and that what people should see who do have chronic diagnosis, what would healing be, or what do you see as their healing? Because it's not going to be maybe physical healing, although miracles do happen. I would like to always point that out to people. I've seen it so much.
Now, when did you get your 6-month prognosis?
Oh, I was very, very much.
Exactly. You know, and that's the thing. We don't know. Nobody knows when their life is going to end. My life can end today and I'm perfectly healthy. Nobody knows.
Yeah.
So I think that the greatest thing you can walk away with is just knowing that you have a life.
Mm-hmm.
You have a life. You have a soul that is yearning to do something. Even if you're in bed, who can you write a letter to? Who can you bring joy to? Who can you love from where you are?
Mm-hmm.
Who can you receive love from? Asking for what you need is the biggest gift you will give too. So I've seen people who are like, well, I can't get up and do what I want to do. I can't go help and serve. But you know, receiving, that's a gift. And if you call somebody and say, I need some time with somebody. I need somebody to pray with. I need somebody to talk with. I need somebody to play a game with. Will you come and be that person? You asking and receiving, you're giving right there then and there. And that is a great gift. We always feel like we have to be the giver, but sometimes to be the receiver is actually the most giving thing. But I just think there's so much in being alive that it doesn't have to do all the time with our physical abilities.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. You're right in the fact that a lot of givers, I feel like I myself am a big giver. We get our positive energy and we get knowing we're helping someone. So you're right. You need some giving person to receive this, to receive that. So you're right. That's a good way to think of that. In your experience, how does tending to your spirit change how someone goes day by day?
You know, we all have bad days. I tend to my spirit every day, and I can still have a really bad day and be a really crabby person. And I don't think perfection is something any of us are ever going to achieve. But I think being a spiritual being, I know perfection is not my goal. What my goal is persistence and never giving up on myself, and knowing that tomorrow's a new day. 10 minutes from now is a new time, and I can change my perspective right now with some breath, with some prayer. And a friend, she always says, pause, pray, get perspective. And she goes, and if you want to throw in some praise music, that's always good too.
The music's always good.
And I think so often we want to assume because we're having a bad day that life is bad. It's not true. We're having a bad moment. We're having a bad day. Maybe we're having a bad week or a month. But that is not life. You know, you can change that. You can reach out to a friend and say, I need somebody to talk to. Shifting energy is as doable as anything. It's a choice.
Yeah. And your perspective is very much a choice. When we went to Mexico, we went to Belize too. And in Belize, seeing the way some of these people live, oh my gosh, it's just such a blessing to realize where you live and what God has given you. But to see these people live, but then also these people were very happy with their family. They very much love and embrace their family.
They find the things.
They find the things, and we all find the things. And a lot of times, though, to bring in perspective, I would think back to that when I thought things were just miserable and thought there's somebody out there that is having it way worse, but is trying to find the joy or has found the joy in their suffering.
Absolutely.
And I can find the joy in my suffering. And but also acknowledging this sucks.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
we definitely need to acknowledge that.
Absolutely. You can't deny the fact that it sucks, the fact that you know, like something really hurts or something, you know, isn't right. But it's like it's a choice all the time to what am I gonna focus on in this moment. And I think that is one of the things I love about yoga, because there are times when we have parts of the body in tension and they are working, and then we're up here breathing and we're relaxing the rest of the body. And can you allow something in your body to be in tension and to be stressed and to be in pain and still find calmness and peace and breath somewhere else? And it's this juxtaposition of energies in your body. But once you realize that you have the power in your mind and in your breath and in your spiritual connection to focus on something other than where the pain is, where the trauma is, then you can, that's a real gift.
Yes. Oh yeah, for sure. That's why they have yoga masters. So if somebody could take just one small step this week and reconnect with their spirit, what would that small step be?
I think just saying hi to Papa. Just realizing that there's something out there that has your back. There is an energy, there's a being, there's a presence, there's a love. And to me, that's what God is, love. God is love. And so connecting, saying hi, saying I want a relationship, I need you, and then also being that love to somebody else. Because it's really easy to share love with other people. My husband's a contractor, and so we're in Lowe's a lot. And sometimes I'll just giggle as we're walking through Lowe's, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I'll be like, "I'm smiling at contractors." And I'm like, because you know, contractors walk through Lowe's and they're very serious and they're like on our mission. And I'll just smile, and then you see a guy stop and he smiles. And yes, most contractors are guys. I'm just gonna think
it's true.
But to see somebody just stop and smile, and then their whole energy shifts, and it's like, ha, gotcha.
That's so true. What would be one thing, your hope for people living with chronic illness who come here to see you, but what would be one thing that you hope they remember about themselves when they leave your retreat?
I think the biggest thing is that your diagnosis does not define you as a being. So you have options still, you have choices still, and I really feel like choice is a big thing that we always want to put on everything else. I don't have choices because I have this, but we always have the choice. We always have the choice to find the beauty in something. And even if it's just looking out the window and watching the sunset and being in awe of the beauty that is out and around us, just finding something that you can hold on to, the beauty around you, love, the love of a child, the love of a parent, the love of a sibling, a spouse. There are so many little things. So our diagnoses do not define us. We have a spirit being that's here for a purpose. And we get to choose every day how we are going to connect with our spirit. We get to choose, you know, connect with our spirit, connect with our physical being. I choose spirit. World, spirit. I choose spirit. You know, there's just, yeah, I think that would be it.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful. And your place is gorgeous.
Thank you.
And I really hope my listeners and people who come across this video, I really do hope that you look up Zia Retreat. It's in New Haven, Missouri, and she has a place in Hermann, Missouri.
Yeah, Zia My Retreat is our website, so ziamyretreat.com. And yeah, you'll find our locations. All of our Airbnbs are on there, our vacation rentals are on there. My retreats are on there, yoga, reiki, massage. It's all listed, coaching. So yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day, everybody. And please check out Zia Retreat, ziamyretreat.com.
Thank you.